Michelle Gray at the healingh-art.com. I'm getting good at that finally. We are
Well,
here to bring back the wonderful Adrian, tall white spokesperson. I love you, and I'm so honored to have you on my divine team, Adrian.
first, hi, Mama Lisa. Erik says, hi, Mama, love you. Love you.
I
He's
love
like,
you too,
we've got
Erik. You
such
know that.
awesome work going on today. Yes. And Adrian, it's
Yes.
interesting. Adrian steps in a robe today. He's in a
Oh,
robe. Okay. So he's still all light, is what I see, but I can see a robe on him. And he says, greetings, Elisa. And he also is addressing everybody and he's saying hello. He says, hello, friends, colleagues, family. He says, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
oh. Hey, so Adrian, like I've got this thing where it's called it's a prayer to get rid of everything that wants to sabotage the energy work we do especially with earth angels. They want to attack earth angels because they don't want them to help humanity. But anyway, so have I is there anything else I need to add to the prayer? Can you not just handle it all? I mean, why do I have to? Oh, I forgot to add tricksters. I forgot to add demons. I forgot to add. No, just do it. I'll get rid of anything and everything. And I have something to that effect in the language. Will that do it? Am I
Um,
missing something?
he says yes, but he says one thing that he will suggest is he says add in there that we do on the behalf all things that you have not mentioned that are he says like consider it like the dust bunnies, the dirty grimies that slip between the cracks, that
Oh,
put into the language that we handle all um he's like
good.
everything and all things that have not been mentioned that will be of harm or detriment to anyone and all ones.
Yeah, I have something like that. Get rid of, destroy and or remove anything and anyone, including higher selves. They can sabotage that has the motive to interfere with and or deny the success of and or sabotage and or blah blah blah. I have that as like a blanket statement. I also have it for the extermination procedures, how they exterminate all the flames of all holy fires and all other measures, blah 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 blah, and also shielding to shield and protect my people. I have language to like that makes it all inclusive. So anyway, so it's okay. Done.
He says yes, and so now you're in the process of repeating. Now you're in the process of building momentum with
Yeah,
those words.
right.
Mhm.
And now we're concentrating on everyone since August. I mean, if there are any gaps in their shields or anything still, bam, it's being done. So we're working really hard.
Yes.
I'm Tesla. I like the cars. We drop Easter eggs into everybody's energy work. All right,
Yes.
back to questions. All right, Adrian, will the human race ever be able to use all of our brain function? I would just like to use 5% of mine. And what can we do to help it along?
Well, he says yes. Yes, as the human being evolves, he says we will always be evolving to new spaces within ourselves because as infinity is the universe and as there is no end to the universe, the truth is that our being will continue to grow and there will be no end to the growth of the brain. So the brain as we see it in the human evolution, as you see yourself right now, that particular brain is going to continue to grow and do new things. What we would suggest to each and every one of you is to keep the mind active, to keep
Yes.
the mind active and not in auto drive.
Yeah.
Because being in auto drive, you're doing the simple task of handing over control to others. And so when you keep your mind active and you keep your mind in a place of mindfulness, then you have the ability to then discover new because you're clearing out the things that you're unaware of.
Yes.
Also, pay attention to the projections. What are you projecting out? Because that way, that starts to clear up nonsense type energy. What goes out, and then you see what goes in. And
Yeah.
suddenly you start to realize over a period of time of commitment, we say commitment, 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 because that is so important. So with the commitment of doing this over and again, you will create new functions in the brain, and it will do things that you can rely on beyond your wildest expectations.
Oh, awesome. Okay, what is the genetic origin of all human races on Earth? Example: Africa, Asian, uh, European, Native American. Are we all from aliens?
Why, yes, we are. And so this would be not a one size fits all, as each being comes from sometimes different dimensions, races. Some can be more from one area than another. And
Oh,
because you have all been a mixture of, there really is no one of you that has not been each one of these different areas in the world, each one of these different human beings. And
okay.
so truly the answer is yes, the origins are of ET, of alien, of interdimensional being.
So Native Americans aren't don't have a preponderance of genetic DNA from a particular type of race of alien, for example, because it's been all mixed up. We've all been Native Americans, and or it's,
He says that in a generality, he says we could become a bit deeper. There are subsections. And so he says, think of soul families. There may be some soul families and a lineage that would be connected to a group of Palladians.
can we do a lightning round, like preponderance of where what alien race? Uh, African Africans. Lightning
Octur-
round.
Octurian,
All right, Asian,
Orion,
European,
Palladian,
Native American,
Palladian,
American, I guess.
mm, Palladian, Arcturian.
Probably a mix, yeah. All right, from my experience, this person asks, ETs tend to channel information about our reality being malleable and not as real as we think it is. So, what's your advice on how to better interact with this malleable, not as real as we think it is reality?
Hmm. What I think your question is that you want to understand that you have been told that this reality through the channeling of many of us, the information that has come through is that you have been told that this reality is not as solid, and that your energy does project the experiences or create the experiences that you are having. And so, if we're correct in understanding that question, we would say that, again, this goes back to what we spoke about, the brain function,
Yeah.
being very clear about what it is that you are allowing into your frequency. Because you see, you are projecting outwards your reality, what you see from other people. And although you cannot control what other people do, and you cannot control the circumstances on the outside of you, but everything that you believe, everything that you react from, has been taken in from you. And so you want to be very mindful on where those beliefs come from. And we would say grounding yourself into the idea of, what do I believe today? What do I believe today? And what do I believe today has the possibility to change, because how could you possibly understand everything in this moment? Because consciousness is something that grows. And so when you are firm and grounded in what you believe today, and you can be open to understanding the information that's coming in is not all yours, that the information coming in is coming in from projections of other people. And
Yeah.
so it's very important for you to be clear on what you believe, because that helps you be very clear on what you're creating. Your intentions is a
Okay.
contract with the universe.
Oh, okay.
Your motivations is a contract with the universe.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it is very important that you understand that first and foremost. Secondly, we would say that to really understand your environment and how to interact with it is extremely important for you to be able to understand how to interact with energy, to understand how your own energy interacts, how you interact with it yourself.
Yeah.
and to understand the basis of energy and how it works. For it is not fantasy, it is truth in how we operate. For it is a system, it is a fabric that has a pattern. And once you understand that, you're able to understand that many things are possible, that many things can be created. And
Right.
you start to understand your own patterns. When you understand your own patterns, you understand that you can create anything that is possible, that is available to your pattern that you came into this world to do,
Okay.
because you cannot create anyone else's. You can only
That's true.
create your own.
That's true. All right. Do you all have some sort of agreement in place with our government? And when will the U.S. government acknowledge the alien existence to their country?
Mhm. We do not have an agreement such as a physical contract.
Okay.
We have an agreement that would be more of what we would describe as a soul contract.
Okay.
As far as providing information to the population, some of that has already come out, and
Okay.
that will continue to drip out over the next 10 years.
So it's drip, drip, drip. Chinese water torture. What is your relationship with reptilians like?
Well, there is a group, we'll call it the energy, that is a lower vibrational energy that seeks more of power and control. Some we have a relationship with that is of mutual understanding,
Oh,
in the understanding that they do things in the way that they do, and we do things in the way that we do. And so there is some understanding of cooperation. Not all reptilian beings are what we would consider the word evil.
okay.
Not all reptilian beings are out to hurt or to harm, but yet they are known to be a slightly colder energy,
Oh,
to
yeah.
be a slightly different way of operating. And for that, we have peace and understanding that they're able to be and operate in the way that they are created to be.
Okay. Um, what about the insectoids? And I think the mantis group are the ones that oversee maybe the insectoid aliens. How's your relationship with them?
Very similar.
Okay.
Mm, mhm,
Same. Some are good, some are evil,
mhm,
good.
mhm.
Is it true that many of the elite are reptilian, like the monarchies and stuff like that?
It is true that who you see as the elite has a connection to the energetic consciousness of that. Yes.
Well, what does that mean?
It means that they are not reptilian beings, that they are not actually reptilian beings,
Are
but
they
there is
influenced?
an energy that connects to them.
Oh, is it that they are influenced by reptilians then?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What alien race is the most advanced? And are humans the lowest level spiritual beings in the universe? Or how do other beings see the human race?
As far as beings that are most advanced, there are species that have not yet been identified,
Oh,
that we have not brought forward, that do have um, advanced ways of functioning
mm,
that you will become more familiar with in your evolution.
okay.
How we view human beings, how other planets are viewing human beings is very interesting, because we look at you as very powerful. We look at you as extremely powerful, and also understand that you are in the process of taking responsibility of that power. And so it is like looking at a child that is being inherited a great deal of power,
Mm,
and we are carefully assisting you in being able to yield that power and personal responsibility. So although there are some beings um, that we have spoken of in this conversation today that would look at that as a weakness, There are many of us that do not look at it in that way. We actually look at that as a strength, and we are very pleased to assist you in helping to take responsibility and be grounded into that power.
It's like there's some, and even in the past, that especially in the past, that looked at children as inferior and be seen and not heard, things like that. But then now we see them as so sacred.
Yes,
Children,
very much the same.
are the tall whites going to ever reveal themselves to humanity in a very overt way? If so, when?
There is a timeline that we are speaking of right now
Yeah.
that is in the future that does occur. To give a specific time when that would occur overtly would not be accurate at this time.
Okay, so the quantum probability is not set basically for that. But does it look like it's going to be thousands of years or 100? Can you give me some digits? Like how many digits? Decades, centuries, in my lifetime, Michelle's lifetime? If you can't, that's fine.
It is possible that there will be in your lifetime,
Okay.
that there will be some that will have overt experiences, but as a whole, it is not
Masses.
probable to be in this lifetime.
I gotcha. For the masses to divulge it to the masses. Okay, the most advanced alien race, can you put a name to them? Maybe we could talk to one of their spokespeoples. And what constellation are they from?
He's calling it unknown origins, but I've asked him to say it twice because he calls it Atari.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Atari. And
What's the name of that?
I see like the game Atari, and I just said to him, is that where that comes from?
I bet somebody channeled it. Yeah.
He says yes. He says yes.
All right, so wow. All right, so do you know can you put a constellation, or is that constellation also unknown?
He says it's unknown, but he also says that our understanding of dimensions of and he talks about like portals, black holes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. How many planets exist in our galaxy that have advanced life?
In our galaxy, he says that there's over 50 that would be tangible. He says there's an infinite amount because there's universes upon universes.
Yeah. Okay, but in the Milky Way galaxy, a little over 50, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. In the last session, you said that there are contracts for certain people to have their higher selves taken over or switched out by tall whites. I've been through this experience where I believe that this has happened. But in my case, it was done with a partner who swore that it was an angelic higher self. And in my case, the ego personality was not able to be managed, and it led to a total chaos and much confusion on my part. How can I tell whether or not this has happened to me or Sherry Westlake? Or how can I tell if so Sherry Westlake, she gave her name, so I guess it's okay to divulge it.
The fact that you're asking this question, the simple curiosity of you asking if this was the being that you believe it to be, this is the contact of a sometimes feels like an angelic being, but is a extraterrestrial. That is a part of your family source.
Okay.
Connected to your higher self. Your beliefs have changed over your lifetime, and therefore your understanding of what this presence is has also changed. Okay. And now you are in a place of accepting that this is something indeed that is from your star family.
That's cool. Okay. What are your thoughts about the increase in shootings across the U.S.? Mass shootings, but also the crime. I mean, it's gone up. What's going on with us?
Well, this is the ego the ego that holds on.
Yeah.
If we think about the energy in the planet right now
Mm.
and the transference into our new age, and if we compare that to the energy that is holding on of the illness, of disease, of control, of power, that goes from the macro to the micro. It is on all levels. And so that within the human beings, we go from sources of mental illness, of anger, of pain, of holding on to the ego. And we suggest to all that if you are walking down the street and somebody bumps into you or trips you and you fall, rather than standing up and saying, "What's wrong with you? Why did you do that?" Say, "Excuse me, are you all right?"
Yeah.
This anger that builds up within each individual, from a fender bender in traffic to a conversation that takes place where somebody bit their tongue and did not express their true feelings, to the young boy that was teased his entire life,
Yeah.
that felt that he had no value,
Oh,
and eventually something tipped him off and he could not take it anymore and took it out on innocent victims.
yeah.
This is the ego of how it has been held back in pain, and how it has been reaching out to express itself, for it is not a bad thing for the human being to have, but it must be cared for, understood. It must be expressed,
So
and
you're
it
saying
must be
that,
balanced
so
within
you're
the
saying that
heart.
humanity overall has just bottled up all this anger and is now leaking out. Is that what you're sort of saying? As a
Yes,
mass?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And as every structure in our world, as every structure in Earth, on Earth, is releasing itself, as every human being is releasing itself, this too is another part of the structure that is releasing itself.
Okay. Tall whites and COVID-19, they tried to help stop the spread, the pandemic, will it disappear? I just found out that the numbers on many countries, like the uh, uh, the people who die at an age past their at the average lifespan of the. So I don't know if COVID is as bad. Is, of course, my respect to those who lost loved ones, of course, but was it inflamed for and over exaggerated? It seemed like it hit only those who were past their average lifespan for the most part. And if so, was it used as a tool against us? If not,
Uh, all are true, and this is what makes it so difficult, is because there is great truth to how it has affected the human beings,
yeah.
truth to the pain, the disease, and has it also been inflated? Yes. Has it also been used as a weapon? Yes. And so it is all of the above. And are we assisting? We are. We
Good.
are. We are assisting in many different ways to help this become, um, unfortunately, from the human perspective, uh, part of a experience that takes us to a new direction on Earth. Yet, from the perspective of those of us off the planet, and seeing it as a very necessary process to be able to walk through to achieve the same.
Okay. Looking back, do you think it was a mistake to shut down the country instead of just quarantining the immunocompromised and the elderly? I mean, because there were suicides and children that were kept from school. I mean, there was all sorts of the collateral damage of losing their paycheck and the business going down, etc. Should we not have done that? Should we have only done what my husband's always said:
Mm,
quarantine the elderly and the sick and the compromised?
The decisions that were made to shut everything down have had many detrimental offshoots that were not necessarily part of what needed to happen. Yes.
Okay. All right. I also, and I'm not going to really say this, there's some people that want to know, was I abducted? And but I would love to have a radio show. I think we mentioned this before, where people call in to think they were abducted or had some sort of an ET encounter, and they can verify it with you. Adrian, would you be a guest on our show if we did that?
I would be happy to. Sign me up.
Oh, you're so awesome. I just love you. All right. So anyway, so I've been doing this healing the collective of Mother Earth, and I put it on YouTube. I hope the script is right, but all these shootings, all this crime, is if we keep at that, will that make a dent at all and help those who are suffering all over
Yes,
the world? Oh,
all of it does. Yes.
so. All right, you guys, it's in the YouTube. Please do this. Please do it. And we are going to do it on YouTube Live, I'm sure, sometime. But anyway, I don't have anything else to say. You want to say anything else, Adrian? Except I love you and I love you, Erik.
I love you. I love each and every one of you. Lead with your heart.
Yes.
Lead with clarity of your mind. Use your words wisely. Use your wisdom. Know that we are not far behind you, for we are right with you. And
Oh.
in fact, some of you know that I'm sitting beside you right now.
Oh, I feel like you're sitting beside me. In my she shed, you will be. Oh, that's awesome. All right, you guys, check out Michelle at thehealing-arts.com. And that brought tears to your eyes, didn't it? Made me choke up too. I've been trying to struggle here to not cry. All right. Thank you all, one and all. And y'all go to atlantiscalar.com and channelingerik.com and the two YouTubes of those two things. And I will see you later. I'm going to stop the recording then and ask you a question, Michelle. Bye, everyone.